I might be on the brink of something. I don't know. I don't know what God's gonna do. I think this year has continued to start like the last couple of years for me, where there's just a lot of unknown and a lot of uncertainty. And there's been points in time where it's been frustrating. I've wanted to throw in the towel. I've wanted to give up. I felt at points just exhausted and depleted. And as I kind of went through that the last couple of weeks, I'm continued to remind myself of why I do this. And that's kind of what I journaled about this morning of like, why do I keep showing up to something that's so hard? Why do I keep showing up to something that's so unknown and so much uncertainty? And that can bring me sometimes a lot of physical pain, which is kind of where all of this kind of started from, where the root of this all came from is 2 weeks ago, I was trying to do one of the World Fitness Project workouts. And I did a very conservative version, but unfortunately my back was just not happy with it. And I don't think it was that certain thing, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I think as per usual, I can kind of start feeling it, and it sucks because I feel like with what we have to do in the sport, I do have to ride that line between feeling okay and not feeling okay, and making daily, even like micro decisions every single moment of when enough is enough and when to stop, when to hold back, when to push through. And can be hard to navigate because my back is very finicky and everything can change in a moment. So anyways, I definitely felt my back during one practice round of a workout. And luckily I stopped before everything kind of really went to the dumpster, if you know what I mean. So I am really proud of myself for that, but it was enough to where the last 2 weeks have been very rocky for me. It's taken me through an emotional roller coaster. It's taken me through a lot of doubts, a lot of frustrations, a lot of why me? Why does this keep being my story? And so yeah, it's allowed me to, one, sit in the stew, because I think that's okay. That's a human part of being frustrated, a human part of wanting something that's just a little out of reach and feeling physical pain. But it's also continues to allow me to navigate my emotions. It continues to allow me to navigate how to show up for myself, how to show up for others, and just continue to let go of expectations. It's just really hard, to be honest. It's really hard. And the human side of me gets frustrated. But I think I got out all of my emotions the last week or so. There's a lot of tears. I don't think there's any more tears in my eyes anymore that can come out. And I'm ready to kind of just turn things around and start a new leaf. And it's right in time, right? Right in time where I feel grounded. I feel a lot of peace coming into today. And I think it's just because I've done a lot of work. And I think when people do work on themselves, they forget that you still go through the emotional roller coaster of doubt, frustration, being scared, feeling fearful. It's just you're able to get yourself out of that a lot quicker and not just sit in it. So that's the difference. So I am really grateful for all the foundation that I have for these type of moments to just get myself out of the hole that I can create for my own self. So that's kind of where I'm at coming into today. I'm letting go of a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, a lot of frustration. And I'm just really trying to come into this with my hands just open. Like, okay, God, like, I don't know what you're trying to do here. I have my own thoughts of why, and I think I'm gonna share those here in a second, but I'm here to surrender and just allow Him to fill in the gaps. He's shown me over and over again the last couple of years, and many times before that He can show up in a really big way. Our job is to just show up. Sometimes that's all it is. And to let go of expectations, to let go of how we expect Him to show up. I think that's a big thing too, is we might have our ways of like, okay, God, I want you to show up in this way today. And maybe that's exactly what happens, but I feel like most of the time it's in a completely different way. But you miss the blessing when you have those expectations, when you put those expectations on God and you put those expectations on yourself. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do these next couple of days of competing, and even going into World Fitness Project too, of just trying to have open fists, not closed fists. And it's scary, but I think when we do that, we leave room for God to blow our minds. We leave room for miracles to happen. We leave room for, just like God to show up in a really big way. Like I said, I've seen that over and over again the last 2 years, so why would I doubt him? Why would I think any differently? It just may not be in the way that I expected it. So anyways, I had like a couple of thoughts and just like Bible verses that came into my mind that I want to share on here. So I have like devotionals that I do. I'm doing 2 different ones right now because sometimes I feel like I get one word from another and then sometimes the other, or sometimes they kind of just like coexist together, which is kind of cool. And I felt like they kind of did that this morning in different ways. But a Bible verse from one of the devotions that I read was Psalm 77. And for me, when I read a devotional, I usually end up reading like the whole Bible chapter. So if it's like Psalms 77:19, I'll read Psalm 77, because sometimes there's a word somewhere else. So that's exactly what happened today. It was like Psalm 77:11, and I was like, okay, that's cool. But as I kept reading, God revealed to me something else in 77:19. And it said, "Your rod led through the Red Sea, your pathway through the mighty waters, a pathway no one knew was there." And so that just kind of like that picture of Moses was leading everyone through the Red Sea. Like they got to the water and all the Israelites were like, what now? You got the freaking Egyptians over there. They're about to come and kill us. We got the Red Sea. What are we gonna do? We're gonna die. I'd rather just go back and die. And God showed up by literally parting the water. And it was in a way that it was a pathway that no one knew was there. You know, and so that kind of reminded me of another Bible verse that I've been really loving these last couple of months, which is Isaiah 43:19. It says, "For I'm about to do something new. See, I have already begun. Do you see it? I will make a pathway through the wilderness. I will create rivers through dry wastelands." And that one's been like really big on my heart the last couple of months, and I'm really grateful for those Bible verses of just like God's doing something new. I don't know what it is, but he's gonna make a pathway through the wilderness. He's gonna make a pathway through the dry wasteland. He's gonna make a pathway where we don't know what's gonna come in the unknown. Our job is to be obedient in that. Our job is to show up. So that was a couple of Bible verses. And another one from my other devotion was Exodus 14:13-14. And this one has come up multiple times in a different chapter, because this is a very popular wordage that he uses throughout the Bible, which is "do not be afraid." And so this one says, "Do not be afraid, just stand still. The Lord will rescue you today. The Lord himself will fight for you. Just stay calm." And so it's just like that kind of stuff I'm really grateful for, because without reading the full chapter, without reading, taking the time to read in the mornings, God can't really speak to me. He can show up through people, right? But sometimes we miss that. And so I'm grateful for the foundation that I have of every morning. I try to sit there, read the Bible verse, read the Bible chapter. It doesn't always happen as perfectly and neatly as I would like to. Sometimes I'm distracted, but when we take the time to be still, like I think God speaks to us through the Bible. God speaks to us through circumstances. He speaks to us through people. And so that was kind of like what I got this morning from the Bible verses. Just like a couple of thoughts of like why I do this. Why do I keep showing up in my unknown and uncertainty? And I said, first one is that you don't get to experience truly what God has in store for you when we doubt God. And this came from a footnote from one of the Bible verses that I read today. It said, "Many who stand on the brink of a spiritual breakthrough never progress. As much as they desire God's victory in their situation, they believe it to be impossible, so they give up. They give up hope because of having to walk in uncertainty." People give up too early. because they're scared of the unknown and the uncertainty. That's what I'm getting from that. They're on the brink of something so cool and so mind-blowing, but they give up too early. And so that's why I feel like it's my job in this unknown and this uncertainty to continue to show up, because I'm like, I might be on the brink of something. I don't know what God's gonna do. And then it goes on to say, we can tragically miss our opportunities for victory and freedom because of our unbelief. The obstacles that we face are never too great in our loving God. If we fail to believe this, we can easily be devoured by our pain. Our stories and obstacles that God can easily remove, we just don't get to see that, because when we're in pain, we can get so distracted by it that we don't continue to step forward, even crawl forward, walk forward, because we're in so much pain and we're distracted by it. It's devouring us, right? But I just feel like when we don't remember in that pain that God can literally move mountains, God can literally part the sea, God can do big things, He can move obstacles for us, but we're so distracted by the pain, but we're not allowing Him to move that obstacle for us. We're so devoured by our pain. And I've been there with my back pain. And this can be emotional pain, this can be physical pain, this can be so many forms of pain, but for mine it's such a physical thing that I've allowed it to devour me for so long. Believing in God, even having just a mustard seed of faith during our storms and uncertainty, is where we get to see the blessings. So that's kind of how I'm showing up today. I'm like, God, I know you can do it. There's still some doubt, there's still uncertainty, there's still sadness, but I do have that mustard seed of faith, because you've shown to be faithful these last couple of years and beyond that. And so it's like, that's where we get to see and enjoy blessings. And the blessings, like I said, just sometimes aren't the way that we want them to be, right? I would love to just go out there today and hit Isabel and snatch for 30 reps and get a record time, but I don't think that what is going to happen today. It might just be showing up for somebody else, I feel like another reason why I'm continuing to show up to uncertainty and hard is I really just want to pave the way for my generations to come. That's been a big thing why I started working on myself, is breaking generational curses in the family on both sides. I was going down a path of, it's cliche to say, but destruction, and following the same thought patterns as certain people and generations before me. And I just kind of was like, but I don't have to do that. It's a choice. And so when we show up in these things, in these hard places, we get to break strongholds. We get to show up differently than our former selves. And we get to choose differently than our past generations. We don't have to continue to keep I call them generational curses, but generational thoughts, generational ways of doing things. Like, we don't have to do that. That's a choice. It is a choice. As much as it is hard sometimes in certain situations, we get to choose, That is a big reason why I continue to show up in the hard. And then I put, the generations to come can choose differently. They have the opportunity to stand higher, so the generations after me, if I choose differently, they can choose differently. They can choose higher. They can believe bigger. They can see clearer and avoid pitfalls that maybe I went through, that generations before me went through. Like, someone's got to start it, right? Someone has to start it. And then I also put, as we redeem our strongholds, we pass on a legacy of learning to the next generation. The next generation is learning, and they get to continue to refine and renew what I started, what the generation before me started. Because not only am I doing work on myself, my mom is too, and I'm learning from her. My dad is too. He's healing. He's choosing to heal. They started in their 50s and 60s, but I'm still looking up to them and being like, wow, they're changing, And so I don't have to make the same choices as them in the earlier years that they had, the pitfalls that they had. And then the generations after me don't have to do the same either. And then the last thing that I read in one of my devotions today was, without a destination, a walk becomes a wander. Without a destination, there is no direction. And so for me, it's like we show up in these hards because we have a destination in mind. And that destination may change, right? But we have a destination in mind. We're not just wandering about like, oh, I'm okay with life. I'm okay with how life is going. It's good. It's good enough. It's good enough. I don't want to wander around. I want to have a destination in mind. And will that change? Maybe. Will it be refined? It will, definitely. And so when I show up in this hard, instead of just saying, if only I had this, if only I didn't have back pain, if only these last 2 weeks didn't happen, I can change it to even now, even in the now. Even in the now, God can do some mighty work. Even in the now, God can blow my mind. Even now, things can still happen. But I won't know unless I have a destination in mind and if I don't show up. I have to show up. I have to show up. And then this one was just kind of connected to the generation thing of when we walk towards a destination, we set the next generation up to find new strength, new opportunity than any generation had before. And so for me, it's just, once again, just setting the next generation up. You're setting the next generation up. Even if you fail, even if this weekend doesn't go as planned, I'm still choosing to show up in the hard. I'm still choosing to have faith. I'm still choosing to be obedient. So I'm still setting opportunities up for the next generation. And so I think that's where people kind of get it twisted, is that we just think X plus Y equals Z, and it doesn't work like that. Progress isn't linear. Your faith walk isn't linear. Your success isn't linear. And so sometimes there's things that go not to plan, right? I'm still gonna show up and be vulnerable because I feel like that's what God is asking me to do in this. And it might just be this. Maybe God just had this for me the whole weekend to just share, even though it was like all over the place because I wasn't sure what God was gonna do with this. Like, maybe this is it. I don't know. But if I don't show up and try to be obedient in that, I'm not setting myself up for success. I'm not setting the next generation up for success. It comes in being vulnerable and the unknown and the uncertainty. So I think continuing to learn certain things, I think God is allowing me to continue to just kind of like figure things out because I'm continuing to put things in front of Him, to be honest. There's idols there. There's wants and needs that are going above my relationship with God. And so I think He's allowing me to continue to go kind of through the same lessons until I kind of figure it out in His grace and His kindness, if I allow myself to see it that way. I don't see it that way all the time. I didn't see it that way the last 2 weeks. I was just like, why God? Like, why me? I was definitely the victim, which I think is okay. It's okay, as long as I can get out of the victim mindset. It's okay to be a victim for a second. It's just continuing to let go of certain strongholds and just allowing God to show up and like fill in the gaps. Like, God, you gotta fill in the gaps because there's just no way I'm gonna be able to do any of this without you. But also give me perspective. Like, give me perspective of like what you really want me to see this weekend and next weekend. Like, what do you want me to see? And how do you want me to serve and impact? That's really what it's about. So I'm showing up in the unknown and the uncertainty, and we're gonna see what happens.